life don't give a damn whether you think you the guy. Life will prove whether you a man or not. You can walk around with your chest out, I'm a man, I'm a man. Life will prove whether you right or wrong. You know what, when life checks men? When the applause stops. When the applause stops for all the good you've done, and you got to face life on your own with nobody to blame. I'm going to tell you when you know you're a man, when you stop blaming people for where you've been and what you've gone through. You can't check your manhood until you stop blaming people for the things that have happened in your life. That's the facts.
Welcome to the Dear Brother Podcast. Hey guys, it's so good to be back. I think I took like the longest break ever, but I needed it. And you know, I teach taking breaks, so I took one. I think I've last recorded around right before Christmas, and here I am in January. I think it's the 6th, and I'm recording again. But I needed that break, and so I don't want to be a hypocrite, man. I tell you guys all the times you need breaks, and you got to take them. Nobody's going to give you a break. You know, nobody's going to schedule a time off for you, man. You got to take a break. And, you know, sometimes a break is not a vacation. Sometimes a break is not flying across some water somewhere. Sometimes the biggest break you can take, the biggest vacation you can take is in your mind. I was talking to some brothers last night. I was invited to a men's talk last night. And I was telling the men that the greatest thing you can do is make your mind your sanctuary again. Clear the clutter that's in your mind, you know. So I'm glad to be back, man. I'm glad to be back sharing with y'all. I hope everything went well for your holidays, man, and for your time with your family. And I hope most of all, man, you took some time for yourself, again, to care for you. Because as much as we have to provide for society and our families and our children, somewhere we got to take something back for us. So I love you guys. And it's so good to be back. For some of you that are seeing me for the first time, welcome to the Dear Brother Podcast, man. And I want to say this to all the new subscribers, man. I'm mind blown. I remember having 10 subscribers and being so happy about it, man. And today I think we got maybe 1,200 subscribers, and that's crazy to me. So thank you, everybody, man. All you gentlemen and the ladies too that have been hanging on to the Dear Brother Podcast, man, and grabbing and adding in the chat and everything. Thank you so much. I want to share something with y'all today. I want to talk about actually I want to ask you a question. And the question I have for you is, who do you think you are? You know what I mean? Sometimes you hear that in an argument with somebody, you know, who you think you are, or your parent might say growing up, who you think you are. But, you know, I got to thinking today, man, one of my favorite scriptures says, as a man thinketh, so is he. You know, how you think is what you become, is what you think. And what it says is you're in control of your life. You're in more control of your life than you think. You know what I mean? Sometimes we let what others say, what others feel. We let what other people think about us. We even let our circumstances, you know, where we've been or what we've been through, we let that control what we think we can become. You know what I mean? But in all reality, man, it's really about controlling your mind and giving your mind a thought to think. Remember this, your mind is your slave, not your master. Y'all hear me? Your mind is your slave, not your master. It's up to you to give your mind a thought. Otherwise, your mind will grab a thought and just run with it. This mind here we got, y'all, you got to be careful with this thing. This thing creates motion pictures. It's a movie maker. And all it takes is a negative thought or a positive thought. And this mind will create a motion picture of what's going on, leading you where you're going. So make sure, man, you mind what goes in here, because this mind is a powerful thing, man. But who do you think you are? You know, when you're driving a car, even if you want to go straight, do you know eventually your hand, whatever hand you use driving, or if you use both, you know, you begin to drive or steer that car in the direction you're looking in. If I'm looking to the right, if I'm looking at a store too long, or I'm looking at something too long, eventually my hands will go without me even consciously thinking about it. My hands will begin to bend to where I'm looking at. So you got to watch, man, even in your life. It's the same thing in your life. What you're looking at is eventually where you'll begin to go. So if it's negative, man, you'll begin to go in that direction, even if it's not your choice. I think we all been there, man. When you look up, your focus gets off, and then you look up in life and say, man, how did I get here? You know, you never, even places you thought you would never be, man. How did I get here? How did I get in this space in life? It's because your focus got off. It's because eventually every one of us, man, as men, we got to fix our gaze. That's what I teach men all the time. You got to fix your gaze. You got to fix your gaze. You got to decide where you're going and look in that direction. And it's always going to be some type of distraction. It's always going to be some type of something somewhere. Somebody that needs your help. Somebody that needs some advice. Somebody that needs something from you. Sometimes it's a negative distraction to keep you from becoming what's in your head to become. That's why you got to ask yourself, man, who do I think I am? Because that's what you'll become, bro. Who you think you are is what you'll become. Who you think you are is how your behavior goes. It all starts right here. You're in control of that. Nobody else is in control of that, man. And I know sometimes it's like, man, well, this person brings stress and that person brings stress. Let me tell you something, bro. Anybody can bring anything in your vicinity. It does not mean you have to focus on it. One thing, man, I really learned in life that helped me out a lot is I start deciding what deserves my attention, right? I had to decide what deserves my attention, what doesn't, who deserves my attention, who doesn't, because everybody doesn't deserve your energy, man. It's one of the greatest things you can decide. It's one of the greatest decisions you can make is who deserves this energy, who deserves this time. Because listen, you don't have energy for everything. You don't. You don't. At one point in all of our lives, we thought we were superheroes. You'll find out quickly that you're not, right? Because life will show you, man, that you need you. You need you. And if you're going to continue to be a good dad, a good husband, a good business owner, man, if you're going to continue to be a good son, a good supporter, some of you are leaders, some of you guys are pastors, some of you entrepreneurs, whatever you're focusing on, man, you got to decide, I need my energy for what counts to me, right? And it's not selfish to decide. I want you to know that, man. You really got to embrace that. It is not selfish to decide what deserves your energy. Why? Because I need this, right? Just the same way you don't give your money away. See, this is the thing. We see how we mind our money. We don't mind our energy like we mind our money. We don't mind our mental space like we mind our money. You know, if you got $10 left, you looking at it and say, okay, I got to decide. I got to stretch this thing and I can't just give it away. Man, do you know you got to budget your energy? You got to budget your energy. You got to budget your mental space because it's just not there, right? But ultimately, man, it's about who you think you are. At one time in my life, man, I started doing ministry at 14 years old, right? And I'm not talking about a little bit. I was full-time ministry by the time I was 16 years old, traveling the country. Do you know it took me 40 years, right? Took me almost 40 years of my life, or let me say 30 years from when I started teaching. It took me 30 years to realize I count, right? Because I decided who I was the giver. Who I was the teacher. I was the guy everybody needed. And I had settled into that, right? It took me years, man, to realize I'm more than that. And as long as I thought that I was no more than a servant in every relationship, I just became a servant, right? Even in intimate relationships, I was a servant, right? Even with my homies, it's like, all right, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Because that was what I decided that I was. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be a servant. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to want to serve people or help people or fix people. But what happens to you when you're the fixer for everybody else and you determine that's who you are, then in every situation, that's what you'll become. And if you're always giving, then the question is when you're receiving. I had to recognize, man, for 30 years, I became the giver and I was never getting anything back. I wasn't even looking for anything back, you see, because I decided that that's all I was, right? Some of you decide, man, well, look, I took so many losses, man, I'm just a loser. So then you begin to approach every situation with that mentality. I guess I'm a loser. You know, you come into a situation expecting to lose. That's like for some of you brothers, I really feel like I need to talk to somebody now about this point right here, about the times in your life where you talk yourself out of things, right? Or you're waiting for the next shoe to drop. Even if things are going good in your life, you're waiting for the next shoe to drop because it's like, well, man, I've took so many losses that I guess I got to take another one somewhere, even if there's no loss coming. I've been like that too. You know, I lost a child that affected me deeply, man, emotionally. I lost my mother and my father within 5 years, my daughter, my mother and father in 5 years. I start thinking, man, my life was a life of losing, right? I've been homeless. I thought that my life was a life of losing. People have taken from me. I accepted that as, I guess that's what I am. So even when I approach good situations, it's like, well, I guess the loss is coming. You see, it's a mentality. And sometimes, brother, it's not the people around you that create this for you. It's stressful and it's crazy and as nutty as people can be around you. You got to realize, man, that many times you created your own chaos from how you think, most of all, about yourself. So I pose the question to you again. Who do you think you are today? Do you think you're heroic? Then you'll start to move like a hero. Do you think you're a man that needs rest? Then you'll unconsciously start looking for rest. You understand what I'm saying? You got to determine who you are and what you need and not compromise or be apologetic for needing that. You see, because it's easy for men, especially good men who want to fix and want to take care of, because that's our nature. But even in that nature, man, there's still a place of selfishness. Now, I know somebody will say, well, selfishness is bad. Not all the time. Not when you're a giver. There's times when you got to replenish. Do you drive your car until it just runs out of gas? No. At some point, you stop and you get yourself what you need to keep on going. See how easy these concepts are to understand when it comes to your car. Got to put gas in it. Easy to understand the concept when it comes to a bank. I got to make a deposit on to make a withdrawal. These are simple thoughts, but we don't treat our lives like that same way. And if we wonder why, why we do that is because we don't value ourselves like we value our things. Think about that, bro. We don't value ourselves like we value our things. And if you start valuing yourself that way, then you give yourself more than you ever given yourself. And when you give yourself that, you fuel yourself. So then you can meet the constant needs of your wife, constant needs of your girl, the constant needs of your children. They're always going to be there, right? And they're not bad people for wanting something from you, but sometimes you can become the bad person by not giving yourself what you need so you can meet those needs. I am a dad, I've been a husband, I got a girl, and I know what they need, right? But one thing I learned now is I got to give myself something to give them back, to give them something. Because eventually, you know what happens? You begin to start becoming angry at the people you love because of how much they need you. But the real, let me not say anger. You don't need to be angry with yourself, but the real attention needs to be on, let me not be mad at them for their needs. Maybe I should assess whether I've given myself enough to keep on giving to them. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even about giving yourself. Sometimes you got to stop and say, you know what? I don't have it. And guess what? That's not weakness as a man. Sometimes it's your greatest strength to be able to admit what you don't have, to be able to admit what you don't do well, to be able to admit why. Because then I'm not trying to become something I know I'm not. I'm not trying to give something I know I don't have, because what that creates, that creates danger, man. That's when brothers get into depression. And do you know 1 out of every 7 men in the United States alone, I know, is dealing with depression, right? So many men, the suicide rate, I believe, is 38%. Men just taking their lives, man, because we get in that place in a minute. A lot of times we get into a place where we can't give no more. And if one more person asks us for anything, we snap, right? And we can't judge those brothers who've taken their lives. No, because just because you haven't taken your life, some of us, we're eating to hide our pain, right? We hold on to that drug to hide our pain, right? I became a weed head that way because I was trying to hide my pain. At first it was like, oh, this is fun, but then it became my escape. And then I looked up and years and years of just getting high, right? And I realized after a while, I wasn't even doing it because I enjoyed it. I did it because it separated me, right, from the pressure of trying to give, and not pausing for me, right? So I want to stop right here. And I want to tell you, brother, that you're listening to me right now. I want to tell you I love you. I want to tell you you matter. I want to tell you you count to me. I want to tell you it's not an accident that you came by the Dear Brother podcast today. I'm a spiritual man, bro. I'm a spiritual man, not a religious man. I'm a spiritual man. I love God, and I know that I was assigned to do this podcast. This is not something for me to just get monetized or become some star. I'm not chasing likes and things like that, because that's when you lose your focus. I got on here to start this podcast to meet men where they are, to have a place where we can come and not only vent, but be healed. You know what I mean? This is the healthy community, man. Hit the like and subscribe button right now, man. Join a healthy community of grown men, right? Grown men. It's a certain age bracket. We go through different things than the younger cats go through. I've seen great podcasts for them younger cats, man. And I realize as great as it is, at our age, 35, 45, there's different things that come in our life that we got to deal with. So this was an assignment, man, to create something for us that we can heal and we can admit and we can be vulnerable in this space. So I ask you again, man, who do you think you are? Because when you check your behavior, who you think you are is what you're acting out, right? So it's your thoughts. I want to say this. It's your thoughts that shape. It's your thoughts that shape your reality, yours. No one else's. It's your thoughts that shape your reality. Distractions will always come, but how do you think about it? What do you think about this? Right? Don't go into a group thinking. You go into you thinking, what do I think I am? Not what somebody said. You know, some of us have been under the weight of you just like your father or you just like your grandfather. No, you're just like you. It's not to say that their traits won't be anywhere around you, but the decisions decide, bro. You hear what I'm saying? Decisions decide. So it is all about your thoughts shaping your reality. See, it's what you focus on either grows into a negative thing or a positive thing. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what you don't have? Man, that can be stressful. I've been there, bro. You can focus so much on what you don't have that your life becomes about getting, and you start to get everything but yourself, right? So this is the thing. That's why success is not just a full bank account, because you can have a full bank account and not have you, right? You can achieve and finally move into that house you wanted, but it's not you. You can build that house you dreamed of and you not be in it. See, the real goal is to have that car you want and a full you driving it. To have that home you want and a full you living in it. To have that woman of your dreams and be fully yourself with her. To have those kids you really desired and want to raise, but be the kind of dad you want to be to them. You see? Don't think that what you add to your life takes away your inner brokenness, man. Don't think that. Don't think that anything you gain externally will somehow fix your internal issues. No. There takes an inner healing that eventually, man, allows you to appreciate what's outside of you. Because those things we want can become killers to us. The very thing we desire most will hurt us the most if we're not internally able to handle the success that we finally get, right? So this is another thing. I want to hit this. The identity, your identity is rooted in your belief, right? Your identity is based in what you believe, right? So who are you? Who do you say you are? Right? Who do you say you are every day? I'm tired. Well, you're going to live tired, bro. Right? No, I'm well. You got to say that. Right? And you got to say that I'm more than what I think I am. Right? Because why? Because circumstances will try to tie you down. Circumstances will try to make you think you are what you're going through. You're more than you're not what you're going through, man. And guess what else? You're not the mistakes you made either. You're not, man. So you got to are your beliefs? This is the question I have for you. And I want you to think about this. Are your beliefs, right? Are the beliefs you have about yourself, are they based on truth? Are they based on fear? Are they based on your past? Or are they based on where you want to go and what you want to become? What are your thoughts rooted in? Where did that thought come from? That's one of the greatest things you need to ask yourself, man. When a negative thought, where did that come from? Where did it come from? Did it come from something your father said or your mother said? Did it come from what they didn't say? Did it come from the first girl you loved that didn't receive you like she wanted to? Did it come from where did it come from? Because if you don't spot where it came from, you'll always be searching for why I'm so negative. Man, there's some things that broke you. And if you identify where that came from, then it's easier to handle, man. You hear what I'm saying? And so who do you think you are, man? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are today? You know what I say about you? I say you're able. I say you're capable. I say you're powerful. I say you're brilliant. I say your past doesn't determine your future. I say you're greater than your last mistake. I say you're not stuck where you used to be. That's what I say, bro. Because yeah, it's a new year. But sometimes it's not always a new you. And dates, January 1st, don't change nothing for people. Decisions decide. You understand, bro? So some of us are still carrying that 2024 baggage on our back because the date wasn't going to change it, nor is the resolution. It's your decisions. It's you determining who you think you are. That's going to change your life, bro. Listen, I want you to go, man. Go grab this on Amazon, Home Where Hurt Men Heal. I wrote this book in 2022, man, while I was homeless, living in a car. I sat back on my phone and I decided, man, since I'm in this situation, I'm not going to be down. I'm not going to be broken. I'm going to write from this place. I grabbed this cell phone right here and I start writing this book. I leaned my chair back in the borrowed car I was living in and I start writing this book, Home Where Hurt Men Heal. It invites you back to yourself. For some of you, you need to go home where your wife and children are. For some of you, you need to restore relationship. But home is not always a physical place. Home is the sanctuary of your mind. Home is where you believe in yourself most. Home is where you're most brilliant, man. Home is where you can build anything. Home is where you were before mistakes happened, before you went to prison, before the divorce, right? Before the breakdown, before the alcoholism, before the abuse. Home, bro. Go there. Go there. Go there. Go there. You hear what I'm saying? Hey, man, I also on christianwonders.com, visit me there, man. I got an ebook there, Removing the Shame. Sometimes we've let people in our lives that cause shame in our life, man. You let the wrong woman in. You let the wrong homeboy in, right? You let the wrong people in your life. And sometimes, man, it caused shame. It brought shame that wasn't in your life before they came. Got an ebook right on my website, man, christianwinters.com. You can go right there and get that ebook. It's on sale for $5, man. It'll be right in your phone, right in your iPad, your computer. You get it downloaded immediately, man. It's on sale right now for $5. And for some of you, man, that had a rough end of the year, and some of you having a rough beginning of the year, man, overcoming mental and emotional fatigue, that's available too as an ebook right on my website, man. You can go grab that right now. All right. Well, listen, guys, always remember this. You matter to me, but you got to make sure you matter to you. Like I end every show. Yesterday was history, and tomorrow is a mystery. All you got is right now, man. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do about it? I love you. See you on the next episode. Like, share, and subscribe. This is the channel where grown men face our fears and become geniuses. I love you. See you soon, bro.